Most men over 60 spend real time thinking about what they wear. They consider the jacket, the shirt, the shoes. They think about fit, about color, about whether the outfit works together. And all of that matters. But there is a layer that sits above all of it, literally closer to the face than any piece of clothing, that most men almost never stop to question: their grooming. Here is the truth that most style advice never says directly. A man can wear a perfectly fitted jacket, clean dark trousers, and the right shoes and still look 10 years older than he needs to because of what is happening above the collar. A haircut that no longer suits his face. A beard that has been left to grow without a clear shape. Skin that looks tired simply because nobody ever told him it did not have to. Eyebrows that have thickened and spread without anyone saying anything. These are not dramatic problems. They are quiet ones, and quiet problems are the most expensive kind because they go unfixed the longest. This channel is about classic menswear, timeless style, and the practical decisions that help men over 60 look sharp, composed, and respected. Today we are going a layer deeper into the grooming habits and mistakes that quietly add years to your appearance, and the simple fixes that remove them. Not skincare routines that take 30 minutes. Not expensive treatments, just honest, practical upgrades most men can apply immediately. Let us start with the one that makes the biggest single difference to your overall appearance: the haircut. The wrong haircut is responsible for more of what men call looking old than almost any other single factor. Not grey hair. Grey can look excellent on a man over 60 when it is well cut and properly shaped. Not thinning hair. Even significantly thinning hair can look clean and intentional with the right cut. The problem is the haircut itself. Specifically, the haircut that men stopped updating years ago and kept wearing long after it stopped serving them. Here is what happens. A man finds a haircut that works in his 40s. It becomes his haircut, the same length, the same part, the same style he asks for every time he sits in the barber's chair. But his face changes over the years. Features soften, the jawline becomes slightly less defined, the temples thin, the hairline shifts, and the haircut that framed his face well at 45 now does something different at 62, something that nobody has told him because nobody ever says these things directly. The most common version of this is a haircut that is too long and too soft. Hair that has been allowed to grow at the sides and back without real structure, creating a shape that is undefined around the face and slightly heavy through the neck. On a younger man, this reads as relaxed. On a man over 60, it reads as having stopped paying attention. It softens the jawline further, makes the face look rounder and heavier than it is, and removes the clean masculine lines that a well-cut shorter style would restore. Picture this. You have been going to the same barber for years. You sit down. He does what he always does. You leave looking more or less the same as when you arrived. But more or less the same is the problem, because your face is not the same as it was when you established that routine, and the haircut has been quietly lagging behind. The fix here is not dramatic. It is not about going extremely short or changing your style entirely. It is about asking your barber or finding a barber who will actually tell you what would work better for your face shape and hair density today. A shorter taper through the sides, more structure through the top, a shape that creates clean lines around the temples and neck rather than softness. These are not bold choices, they are precise ones. And precision, at this stage of life, is what separates a man who looks sharp from a man who looks like he used to be sharp. And once the haircut is addressed, the next grooming detail becomes immediately visible because it sits right at the frame of the face, the eyebrows. This is one of the details that nobody talks about directly, which is exactly why so many men over 60 are walking around with eyebrows that are quietly undermining their entire appearance. As men age, eyebrow hair tends to grow in multiple directions, thicken in some places, and develop long individual hairs that extend well beyond the natural brow line. The result is a brow that looks heavy, slightly unkempt, and older than the rest of the face. Here is why this matters more than most men realize. The eyebrows are one of the most expressive features on the face. They frame the eyes, shape the expression, and communicate alertness and presence in a way that most people absorb unconsciously. When eyebrows are clean, even, and well-defined, they make a man look more awake, more engaged, and frankly more masculine. When they are overgrown, stray, or untidy, they do the opposite. They make the face look slightly heavy and tired, regardless of how well rested you actually are. The fix is simple, to the point of being almost embarrassing. A small pair of scissors, a fine-tooth comb, and 2 minutes every few weeks. Comb the brows upward and trim any hairs that extend obviously beyond the natural brow line. Do not reshape the brow, do not thin it dramatically. Simply remove what does not belong there. The result is immediate and significant. The eyes appear more open, the expression more alert, the entire face younger without a single product applied. Now here is the part that most men genuinely never hear, and it is the one that changes the texture of every conversation about grooming: your skin. Nobody expects a man over 60 to have the skin of a man in his 30s. That is not what this is about. What this is about is the specific kind of skin dullness that comes not from age itself, but from two things: dehydration and lack of protection, both of which are completely addressable without a complicated routine or expensive products. Here is what happens to unprotected, unhydrated skin over decades. The surface becomes slightly rough and dull, rather than clean and even. Fine lines deepen faster than they need to. The skin around the eyes and mouth looks tired, even when you are not. The overall tone becomes uneven in a way that registers not as older man, but as tired man, and there is a significant difference between the two. A man can look 65 and still look vital and well. A man can look 60 and look exhausted. The difference is largely in the skin. The practical fix requires 2 products and 1 habit. A simple moisturizer used morning and evening, something basic, fragrance-free, and appropriate for your skin type. This alone changes the surface quality of the skin significantly within 2 to 3 weeks of consistent use. And sunscreen used every morning before you leave the house. Not because of vanity, because decades of unprotected sun exposure is the single largest driver of the skin changes that make men look older than their age. Uneven tone, deeper lines, rougher texture. These things can still be slowed down significantly, even at 60. That is it. 2 products, 90 seconds a morning. No 10-step routine. No luxury spending. Just the 2 things that make a measurable, visible difference in how your skin reads to other people and in photographs. And once the haircut, the eyebrows and the skin are addressed, there is one more grooming detail that many men over 60 have let drift without noticing: the beard or the facial hair situation. Whether a man wears a full beard, a short beard, a mustache, or keeps clean-shaven, the state of that facial hair communicates something specific about him. And the most common mistake is not choosing the wrong style. It is allowing the style they have to grow slightly beyond the point where it still looks intentional. A beard that is the right length but has irregular edges, hairs growing past the natural cheek line, the neckline undefined, patches where the growth is uneven, reads as neglected rather than styled. A moustache that is allowed to grow slightly over the lip line looks slightly careless. Even a clean-shaven face that has visible patches of missed hair along the jaw or neck sends a signal of not quite paying attention. Here is the principle that applies across all facial hairstyles, regardless of length or type. The shape must be clearly intentional. When someone looks at your beard, your moustache, or your clean-shaven face, the first impression should be that the decision was made and maintained. An intentional short beard and an intentional clean shave both communicate control. An in-between state, or a style that has grown slightly past its boundaries without being brought back in, communicates the opposite. Picture this. You are at dinner, well-dressed, clean shirt, good shoes, but your beard has grown about 4 or 5 days past when you last shaped it. The cheek line has fuzzed out. The neckline is undefined. The overall impression is that you put effort into the clothes but not quite into the face, and the face is what people look at when they talk to you. The fix is simply a maintenance schedule rather than a style change. Whatever your current facial hair choice, decide on a frequency, every 3 days, every week, whatever keeps the shape looking intentional, and stick to it. If you wear a beard, define the cheek line and especially the neckline with a trimmer regularly. If you shave, shave cleanly and completely. If you are between styles, choose one. The specific choice matters far less than the commitment to maintaining it with intention. Now, there is one final detail that sits alongside all of these and acts as a quiet amplifier for everything else, and it is the one most men are completely unaware of: nose and ear hair. This sounds minor. It is not. Visible nose hair and ear hair are among the very first details other people notice about a man's grooming, often before they are consciously aware of noticing anything at all. They register in the brain as a grooming signal, and not a positive one. A man can have a great haircut, a well-maintained beard, good skin, and excellent clothes, and one small area of missed grooming in these areas quietly undermines the entire impression. The fix is 30 seconds with a small trimmer, once a week. Nothing complicated, nothing expensive, just the awareness that this detail exists and the habit of checking it. Here is what all of this adds up to. Grooming is not about products. It is not about vanity. It is about the same principle that applies to every other aspect of how you present yourself: attention. A man who pays attention to his haircut, his eyebrows, his skin, his facial hair, and the small details that most men overlook, is not trying to look younger. He is maintaining the standard of appearance that he has always had, adapted to who he is now. That is not effort. That is respect for how you show up. Because at this stage of life, your face is the most visible thing about you. It is what people remember. It is what photographs capture. It is what sets the tone before you have spoken a word, and the grooming choices that frame it either support the impression you want to make or quietly work against it. So here is what I want to know. Which of these grooming details do you think has quietly drifted in your own routine? The haircut, the eyebrows, the skin, or the facial hair? Drop it in the comments below. I read every one, and I want to know where most men are catching themselves. If you appreciate honest, practical style and grooming advice for men over 60, subscribe to the channel. In the next video, we are going into the colors that quietly age an outfit and exactly which ones to wear instead. You will not want to miss that one.